This week we're going to create an Illustrator file of our character, and then we're going to bring that into After Effects, and I'm going to show you how to rig it, and what I mean by rigging for a 2D character. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up an Illustrator file, and I'm going to make it the same size here. I have under Film and Video presets, I can choose 1280 by 720, which is our preset we're using. And I'm going to go ahead and just create this preset in Illustrator, which is the correct size dimensions. Now I've already, I drew a character. It's modeled after my daughter. And I've just took a picture of it with my phone and airdropped it onto my desktop here. And I'm going to go ahead and bring that in to my Illustrator file. Let me go ahead and find it. I'm going to go to Finder, and I've already created a folder for my character demo. And I'm going to go ahead, and this is the image that I drew of my character. Here it is. And I'm going to go ahead and just drop this, drag and drop it into my Illustrator file. Now it's going to be much, much larger. So I'm going to go to the magnifying glass here to zoom out. I'm pressing Option and I'm zooming out. This black line here is the size of our artboard. That's the size that will be exported of our file. And then here, this is obviously much larger than our artboard. So what I have here in Illustrator, right now I'm just in my workspace. If I go to Window Workspace, I'm in Essentials Classic Workspace. And if I've collapsed these side panels. And this is what it looks like here. And then to the left are all of my tools. So this is my selection tool. And what I'll do with this is, and already you can see since this is selected, I can click off and it's not selected, and I click here and it is selected. I can go to these little corner tabs, and I have to hit Shift to maintain my aspect ratio of my drawing. And I'm just going to make this smaller than this, my artboard. So it fits nicely in my artboard. I'm going to go back to my zoom tool, or I can go down here and type in a value. Or I can go to View and say Fit All in Window, or rather Fit Artboard in Window. And now there it is, my artboard's in my window. I have this little X, and there's these smart guides, and they will snap. So right now I'm placing my little character right inside, right at the center. There's my little center indicator. And none of these green lines will export with my project. They're just guides. Okay, so now that I have this placed here, I'm going to start to trace all of my parts for my character. And what you'll notice is that the character is in what we call a T-pose. This is with the arms stretched out, and this is for a biped. But what you want to do is extend all of the limbs so that when you go to animate them, that you have their full extension, and then you're able to animate them into a more relaxed pose or waving their arms or something like that. Over to the right here, I have this little icon. This is my layers, and right now I have layer 1 is just my drawing. I'm going to go ahead, I can make this visible or invisible for layer 1. It's also showing me this transparent background. And if I click next to this visibility icon, I can lock this layer. So I'm going to lock it. That way I'm no longer able to drag or select anything from this bottom layer. So what I'm going to do is create a new layer on top of it. And now you see that there's this little red bar. That means that anything, any vectors that I draw in this layer will have red. So I'll just know that it's a new layer every time there's a new color. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in again on her head first. And it doesn't matter what I start with, but I'm going to use the pen tool here. And I would recommend, down here is where we have our fill and our stroke. I would recommend having the fill for now be none, so I can just see the full character. And what I'm going to do is select my pen tool, and I'm going to go ahead and click, and then click and drag to start to outline. And I can click again, and it will get rid of that second Bezier handle. And I can just click and drag around the outline of the hair to start. Now I can always, I'm going to undo that because I do want Bezier handles. So it has a softer edge. What I'm doing is I'm just dragging before I click, and I can drop these Bezier handles in. And this is what gives my pen tool a curved shape. So what I'm going to do for the hair is I am going to drop it behind the head. I'm going to complete that so that if the head moves, that there's hair behind the head. And I'm just dragging and pulling, and it doesn't matter to me if I've done this perfectly or not. I can get a good general outline, and then I'm going to go ahead and select it. And then so this is the select object tool, and this is the direct selection tool. And if you see, once my object is selected, if I click on this selection tool, all my points are here. So now if I want to make any adjustments to this shape, I can. One adjustment I might want to make is that, let me zoom in a little bit, is that this point here and this point as well, this point particular, doesn't have any Bezier handles. So how do I change it? If I go to my pen tool and I drop down in that little triangle in the corner indicates that there are more tools embedded in this particular space. In this icon, I can pick other tools. So I can add anchor points, delete anchor points, or I can use the anchor point tool. And if I click on an anchor that has the anchor point tool, then I'm able to get those Bezier handles. And now I might need to anchor point tool this one, and I'm click it again. It's hard to tell, but that should convert this point. There, I click and drag, and now I have my Bezier handle, same here. So now I can use my selection tool again and drag and drop these points into place, and then also drag and drop the handles. The handles determine the shape of the curve of the line. Now, if I want to get rid of this, I can actually just use my pen tool and click on it, and we'll delete it. So embedded in here are these two kind of obsolete tools. The pen tool itself just does it. If I click on a Bezier, if I click on a point, you see that little minus sign, it means it'll delete it. And if I click on the line, it will add another point. So that's how we can edit shapes that we're making here, vectors, vectored shapes that we're making. And then I use this direct selection tool again to just move my pieces around. So there's the hair. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to label this hair just by double clicking and renaming it so I know what it is. And once this layer is done, I'm going to lock it, and I'm going to create a new layer. And I'm going to do the same thing for the head. If I click on this, that second handle will disappear so that I have an angled line rather than a curve. I'm going to undo that because I didn't drag. I have to click and then drag in order to get those handles to appear. Okay, so now I have here face. And now I'm going to do the neck. I'm going to lock each layer so I don't accidentally select it. And when I do any of these parts that are overlapping, just like I did with the hair, I want to actually give it some room so that when I animate, I have some space around the shape of my object as I've drawn it here. And now I have my neck. And we will do this for every part. For the arms And the legs, we are going to want to split this into the shoulder, the arm, and the hand. So I've already gone ahead and outlined this character. So let me go ahead and open that so you can see what it looks like. And this is what my final outlined character looked like. And you see here I have, and I've renamed everything. The only thing I don't have is the face yet, but I did want to show you this. I have one side of one leg done and one arm done with all of its parts. For the shoulder, and this is something that I'm going to want to fine tune, and I can do this also in After Effects when I'm able to move these parts around. But I'm going to want to fine tune the shape of the shoulder, fine tune maybe the shape of the elbow, so that when I rotate them, then it appears as if it's a seamless arm. Okay, so this is what it looks like. This is what my biped T-pose character looks like with the outlines done. Then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and start to select. Let me make sure that some of these are locked, especially the bottom one. But what I'll do now is select different parts and start to change the color of the fill. So let me select my hair, double click, and give her some brown hair. Select the face, and find a kind of olive beige color. Select the face and do that. And then for the neck, I already have this color that's been the last color I selected here. So I can just go ahead and fill it. Now these are not layered in the correct order because the neck is on top of the face here, for example. But what I'll do is I'll just go through and I can maybe select these all at the same time. And then fill them. Okay. Now what I want to do in my layer list is organize these. And I want the neck, the face on top of the neck. And then also I want the shoulder under the neck. And then the elbow can be on top of the shoulder. And the elbow can stay there, the elbow and the hand. But the order of this is going to affect what, if the hand goes in front of the head or behind the head, etc. And then I want the hand above the elbow. Then I want the knee above the thigh and the foot above the knee. And so now this is what my character looks like. Now I might decide that I would like to actually, I don't want any black outlines because I don't like the way that they intersect with each other. I can select them all, click on the stroke color and say no fill. Okay, and make sure my foot is selected as well. Okay, and now I have my character. I might maybe then want to change the color of the neck. I might want to change the color of the neck to be a little bit darker, just to give the illusion that the head is a little bit more prominent than the neck is. Okay, so there's my character. Let me go ahead and show you with the expression drawn in. I have, here's my character. Maybe what I'll do is, because I do like my character maybe without without the black outline, I'm going to go ahead and reselect these. And if I don't select all of them, hard to tell if I've selected this one or not. And then I'm going to give it no fill for the stroke. And again, go back to the neck here and make it just a shade darker. Okay, there's my character and this first facial expression. So what I'm going to do with this character now is bring it into After Effects. I'm going to go ahead and save as. I'll just save this as Violet 3. And I'm saving it as an Illustrator file, okay. And now I'm gonna open up After Effects. I'll go up to my Creative Cloud and open After Effects. And whatever about that little notification, not worried about it. I'm also going to collapse that opening screen that I don't need. Okay, so here I am in After Effects, and what I'm going to do is double click in my project panel, and I'm going to import that Illustrator file, and this is the one. And I'm going to import it as footage, and I'm going to say Create Composition, open. Let's do that again. I'm going to import it. That's what I would like. I want it Violet 3, and I don't want it as footage. I want it as composition, retain layer sizes. And now here I have my layers, and I have my composition. Now what I can do is select all of these. This is what I should do. Is I've selected all of these layers here, and I'm going to go to Create and say Create Shapes from Vector Layer. And now I have my shape layers, and I'm going to go ahead and select my vector layers, and I'm just going to delete those. I don't need them. And I also don't need, let's go ahead, I'm on this none layer. Let's go to my composition. I don't need this background any longer. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that layer as well. I must not have saved. Let me go and select all of my, and I can easily do this here as well. I must not have saved it after I took off the stroke. Let me hit stroke here and say no fill, except for the facial expression. Let me deselect that, and then I'm gonna say I don't want any fill. That's better. And then here, because these are all now shape layers, let me go to the neck here and again make this a little bit darker. So now I'm able to adjust these like shape layers here. I just prefer to use the pen tool and to be drawing them in Illustrator. And this is the way that you would then have them as shape layers in After Effects. Let me go ahead and zoom in. And now I'm at 200% here, so it's looking pixelated. But what I'm going to want to do now is use my pan behind tool to set the position of all of the pivot points. And the reason I want to do this is because, for example, I have my face here. I need to basically be setting where the joints will be for this character. So there are some hotkeys that are really helpful. R is for rotate. So any layer that you have in your composition layer list that you've selected, you can press R, and then only the rotation, only the rotation transform property will pop up. So for the face, for example, if I go ahead and rotate this face, it's going to rotate. All of these shapes are going to rotate around this anchor point. So the best way to move the anchor point is to use this pan behind anchor point tool. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to want to put right at the base of the neck that this is where I want that anchor point so that the face will rotate around that anchor point. So I want to do this for the face. The neck, I don't think will move. It's not going to swivel back and forth. It might a little bit, so I might as well put this joint here, although I don't anticipate making the neck move. And then for my shoulder, I'm going to use that pan behind tool and place my joint right here on the shoulder. So now I can already tell that the shoulder's cutting way too far in to the body. So when I rotate this, I want it to really rotate right around this point. So I'm going to want to go ahead and round this out so that when this rotates, it will rotate down and not have this part sticking up. But I'll deal with that later. The elbow, same thing. I would like to move this right at where the elbow joint would be on her arm, and the same for the hand. Now, of course, I can go into the hand if I really want to create a very intricate animation and isolate the knuckles of the fingers so that they can all move independently. And so you would do the same kind of system that I've done here with the arm of just, you break down each component into its rigid component. And then where the joints are is where you overlap those shapes. Okay, let's go now to, let's see, the hair. The hair's fine, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. The shoulder, the elbow, the hand, the neck, the face, the expression on the face, and now the thigh. Let me go back to my pan behind tool and position it right there. I like to use this hand tool to drag. And now I'll go to the knee, select my knee layer and the pan behind tool, and place that at the knee. Same for the foot. Place that at the ankle. Now what I'll want to do is copy and paste the thigh, the knee, and the foot. Before I do that, there's one other thing I want to do first. Let's undo that. What I want to do next, actually, is parent these pieces to each other. Because for right now, for example, as you saw with the face, when the face moves, the hair doesn't move with it and the expression doesn't move with it. And I would like both of those to move with the face. So in order to parent, and this is great about After Effects, because you don't parent, you parent in a different way. You use this parent and link and this little pick whip, excuse me, in order to choose what the parents are. So the layering order here doesn't matter. The layer order doesn't matter for parent-child relationships. So what I can do is I want the hair to follow the face. So I'm going to go ahead and, it says select layer from which to inherit the transforms, and I'm going to go ahead and use this to select the face. And now you see under parent link it says layer 6, face. Shoulder should follow the neck. So again, same thing. The elbow should follow the shoulder. The hand should follow the elbow. Because now when I'm in my shoulder, I can go ahead and rotate and the whole arm will move with it. Now you can see how that part of the shoulder is problematic at the top. But my whole shoulder will rotate. The whole arm will rotate when the shoulder rotates. So let's keep going up the line. The neck will parent to the dress. And the face will also parent to the neck. The expression will parent to the face. The thigh will parent to the dress. And the knee to the thigh. The foot to the knee. And the dress will not parent to anything. And this will then, when I go ahead to rotate, let's say my character, it will all rotate together because it's all parented together. Another hotkey is P, and that will change the position. So now I can just change the position of the dress and all of my layers that are parented will move with it. So now that I've parented everything, I'm going to go ahead and select the foot, the knee, and the thigh. I'm going to copy and paste them. So now I have a second set. And when I select these, I'm going to go to layer and say, or I'm going to, layer, transform, and flip horizontal. Now I can just go right to the thigh, select only the thigh, hit P, and then change the position of this leg. So now I have my second leg. And I'm going to do the same thing for the arm. I'm going to say the shoulder, the elbow, and the hand, copy, paste, layer, transform, flip horizontal. No, I didn't mean to do that. I want just, okay, paste, and then go just for the shoulder. Okay, that's what I did here too. So just for the shoulder, just with the shoulder selected, I want to say flip horizontal. And now my whole arm is maintained. So let me hit P and move its position now to the other shoulder. I'm going to do the leg because you see how the leg looks a little bit strange. If I go to my leg, let's go ahead and delete this second grouping and do that again. Let's delete them. Select the thigh, the knee, and the foot, copy, paste. Just select the thigh. And you see the order has changed. So let me fix the order. Not that it matters without that line, but just for, we can go in and we can adjust the layer order here. But for the thigh now, I'm going to go and say layer, transform, flip horizontal, and the whole leg will maintain its relative positioning to that parent. And then I'm going to hit P and move the leg out. So now that looks a little bit better. That's better. Okay, and I think maybe for the shoulder here, move this position out a little bit more maybe. Okay. So now what I want to do is rename everything here so I know what everything is. I'm going to right click and say rename, and I'm going to say hair. Right click on this shoulder, rename, and I'm going to say R for right side underscore shoulder, elbow, right underscore elbow. Rename this, right underscore hand. And if you're not doing a character that's a humanoid figure, but instead something much more imaginative, you're going to have to be also a little bit creative about the way that you structure your joint system, your whole skeletal kind of system using these anchor points. You're going to have to be creative with the naming conventions. Let's say you have some six-legged creature. You're going to have to name like left 1, 2, 3, right 1, 2, 3, whatever works for you. But this is kind of standard for biped characters or human characters. So here I have, now I have my other hand, and I'm going to change the layer list of this too, so that the shoulder, the elbow, and the hand are like this. I'm going to rename this L for left underscore shoulder, L underscore elbow, L underscore hand, and so on up the list. I'm going to say this is expression 1. So if I have other expressions, I can, this is why I have the expression as separate from the face layer. So I can turn on or off different expressions. I can also animate, obviously, if I have, the mouth is closed, I can have the mouth open and all of that. And I will have those under these, right, under the contents of the expression. I have my different shapes here. They're under groups here, but they're different shapes. Okay, so the thigh, this is going to be the left thigh. And I am going to rename this because it has this new word that says outline since I changed it to a shape layer and I don't want it to have that. And then I am I am going to change some of the ordering of this. I would like the expression, the face, and the neck, and the hair to be on the top under the dress. And then I would like everything on the right side to be first and everything on the left side to be second. And that's just how I'm gonna, order them here in my layer list. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and save this. I'll save this as Violet 2. And just to show you how I can, now that I have, this character is ready to animate. So this is only going to be from a front view. This is when the character is facing the front. I will have to, if I want to do something like a walk cycle, create the exact same type of character from the side. So I'll have to create the profile of her face, the profile of her hair. I might be able to still use these hands and these arms. And the legs, but the feet are going to have to change. And so this is why for the character design assignment from last week, I asked you to draw from different viewpoints, your different perspectives. So a side view, a front view, just like that Ponyo drawing in the Miyazaki documentary. So that in this way, we can have different compositions, and then we can toggle between the opacity, turning on and off those different compositions of the character. And that's something we can maybe get into next week. But just to show you here, what I'll do is with the shoulders, I'll hit the R, and I'm going to rotate the shoulder up. Maybe I can key this. I'll hit a key here, and she will just wave to you really quickly. If it will let me drag, there we are. So this is only 2 frames long, so that's an issue. I'm going to have to make this a lot longer of a composition. So let me go to my composition settings. This is only 2 frames. My duration for this should be, let's say, 30 seconds. There we go. And now maybe frame, and then I'm going to want to actually, I have to select all of these and drag them out so that they all exist for the duration of my piece. Okay, so let's say at 6th frame maybe, I'll rotate. I just want to rotate the shoulder. And the elbow. Go ahead and key the elbow, rotation of the elbow. And then the hand, maybe 2 frames later, I'll key the hand. And this might be fast, but we'll see. I can always go back and extend it. Now I don't want to select anything so I can see it. There we go. Okay. So that'll do it for this week. Go ahead and create your Illustrator files and break down all of the parts of your character. I would do a front view and a side view for sure. You can also do a back view. Depends on what kind of, but that will give you plenty of options for how you want to animate or what you want to animate. What you want to animate your character doing. And so go ahead and make sure that all of those things are done so that the final week we can go into animating the movement for the character.